So, what is this shit you brought me all the way down here to do?
Okay, so you're just introducing me and Jake.
Who the fuck is Jake? Who the fuck are you?
Jake, he owns the shop. This is his podcast. I'm just his
fucking
co-host.
hellhole.
Okay, that's kind of rude. Okay, so all you gotta say is comic relief after hours.
Comic relief after hours. Where's the fucking camera?
There's no camera.
There's no light crew. There's no sound guy.
It's a podcast.
The fuck's a podcast?
It's like a digital audio file. You know, it's kind of like the radio.
The fucking radio. You young people don't even listen to the fucking radio.
No, we listen to podcasts.
The fuck is a podcast?
A podcast is a digital audio file.
Listen, Sonny, I am Sean Connery.
Jake's gonna kill me.
I played fucking James Bond.
Okay.
And you're gonna what?
Okay, you just need to say comic relief after hours.
Comic relief after hours.
And now your host Jake and his co-host Josh.
Fuck your mother.
That's really rude.
Welcome to Comic Relief After Hours, guys. I hope you liked our guest Sean Connery. Bye, Mr. Connery. No, we're not paying you for that piece of shit. All right.
I mean, he didn't even do a good job.
He didn't. Fuck him.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, guys, as always,
Extraordinary Gentleman sucked.
Yeah, it did. And the Invisible Man's way cooler.
Yeah.
What he play? Alan Quartermain?
I don't. He played Colonel Mustard. I don't know. What the fuck
Colonel Mustard. Guys, as always, with me, Josh. Say hello.
Hello.
All right. Hello.
Since you get to do a voice, I would like to do a voice.
I'd like to do the Sean Connery, please.
Hey, can I do this whole thing as like a Mark Wahlberg?
Listen.
Hey. I really
Brilliant.
like Jurassic Park.
Brilliant.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Did you see my scene where I laid my shirt half open?
Yeah, that's what inspired me to start working out.
Brilliant. Yes.
Yes.
All right, we got long enough. Okay, guys, you know what? We've got a lot
Intros are getting harder.
Intros
guys.
are fucking hard,
They're getting
man.
so hard.
We gotta hook them. I thought, maybe they're like, oh, who's this fake sounding Scottish dude? Maybe that would hook them in. I'm pretty sure we already
what
lost
hooked them in though, right? Is if we told them that you were wearing a kilt
or
no
underwear.
Pants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Penis
guys,
jokes.
Yes, penis jokes are the way to every listener's heart. All right, so guys, we've got there's nothing really for us to talk about. I mean, after last week where I kind of more so than Josh went on and on about how much I hate people, especially DC and Star Wars fans. I think.
Yeah.
I feel a little deflated after it. I mean, it was, like I said, it was a little bit of a cathartic experience. But now, you know what? There's just things I like to talk about that are happening kind of in our realm of interest, right?
Yeah.
So I figured we'd just jump right into the biggest news that everybody's already heard about. There's really not a whole lot for us to have to say about it. We're a little late on the news. We only do this on Wednesdays. So Avengers moved its release date up 1 week to April 27th. Now, and then in response, it looks like The Rock's Rampage movie moved itself up a week. No, it was just purely coincidental, of course. Had nothing to do with Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, nothing.
But I don't know. There's a couple things I think that might be contributing to them doing this. One, maybe it's just look, we've been doing this for 10 years. Let's give the American audiences a little bit of pat on the back. Like, hey, you stuck with us. You get this movie when the rest of the world does. Couple that with the fact that this movie is 10 years in the making and all those spoilers could potentially be leaked online a week early before American audiences get to see it, or I should say North American audiences, because Canada, I think, gets it when we do too. So they're like, look, to avoid all that, worldwide release, same day, everyone go see it. No one's spoiled. If you don't go out to see it that weekend, stay the fuck off the internet. That's not our problem anymore. We did what we could. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, totally. Just with the toy line being finally being released, we've already gotten tons of little spoilers that it was obvious that they were trying to keep away from the trailer so you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw, but it's been spoiled for us that we might have been right that scene with the Iron Spider suit definitely digitally had legs removed.
Oh, yeah. I was at the first
Spoiler
day that
alert
I
for
noticed
listeners.
it. Yeah, the first day I noticed it, I was walking in Walmart, and there's a Spider-Man Infinity War figure that had legs that attached on and off, and I was like, this shit.
Yeah, there's been a couple other promotional things that have shown that he's wearing the legs, so I'm guessing digitally been removed out of that scene, or Peter just hasn't realized it's a function of his suit yet at that moment.
Yeah.
Kind of doubt it.
Well, I mean, the best part about this for me is all the people that were like, all the naysayers that when they seen the suit in Homecoming, they're like, that's not the Iron Spider suit. It's not all red and gold. And it's like, that's the Iron Spider suit. Now we got the legs. confirms it.
I mean, come on.
I was right. I'm always right. Man, it feels good.
I think you are in the majority of fans who knew that was the spider suit or Iron Spider suit. The minority are the idiots who think that Batman vs Superman is one of the best comic movies ever made.
Or
Ones who've never even read Civil War don't know exactly what the Iron Spider suit is. They just know it by looking at it.
yeah.
So anyway, a couple of things have come out about Avengers: Infinity War. One, have you seen the release of those Infinity War hot toys?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking Iron Man, that thing is so gnarly. I love it. I have to have it.
Yeah, I know. You being your Iron Man fan.
Yeah, and that might be the only Thor hot toy I ever need to own. That thing is amazing.
Your theory on the hammer.
I think I might be
I
right
think
about
you're right
that.
On it. I think you're right on it.
So if you guys go back to one of our earlier podcasts, I can't
yeah,
exactly
it was
remember
like right
it.
after they released the trailer.
Yeah, we talked about how when Thor looks like he's in that forge thing and he's got his arms all spread out and he's screaming in some big thing. I thought maybe he was forging a new hammer, and looks like we might be right. Looks like they're calling it Stormbreaker. Looks like it's not really made of metal. I mean, the blade and everything is, but the handle looks like it's made of wood. Maybe it's got Groot's, as you were saying, Groot's vines kind of wrapping around to attach it. So, but anyway, that fucking hot toy is amazing. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I literally have it as the background wallpaper on my phone.
I'm not trying to bring it up or nothing, but that Infinity Gauntlet from Legend, though. Oh, wow, you really do have it on the background of your phone.
Told you. What were you saying, the Infinity Gauntlet what?
Yeah, the Infinity Gauntlet from Legend.
Oh, the Marvel Legends Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, the one that you bought from Not Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that another time. But the other thing I think people are talking about, too, as far as Avengers moving itself up, there's people out there who think that they're trying to distance themselves a little bit from Deadpool. And there might be some credence to that theory. We've seen how much money Black Panther made in 3 weeks, basically just shattering records in 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're looking for Infinity War to have that same cushion and no real competition. It's possible. It's possible that factored into their decision making. I'm sure we all by now have seen how it happened. The Twitter from Infinity War or Marvel going back to Robert Downey Jr. saying kind of being a friend, stuff like that. So that's how they came out and released information. But anyways, bottom line, we get to see Infinity War a week earlier than we originally thought. I can't be mad.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
No, you're riding the momentum train of I burped. The train, the momentum of Black Panther. Now you're just kind of giving it to us a little bit earlier.
I mean,
it's a little more fresh in people's minds.
As Black Panther leaves the theater,
which it won't. I don't think it'll leave theaters all through March.
No, I don't think so.
I think it'll be April before that thing's out.
It's going to be a very slow burn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still making money.
So this thing might trail into the very beginning of April, and then the end of April we've got Infinity War. So
we don't have any gap between Marvel movies.
No, and then hell, Deadpool solo. I mean, it's a great year for comic movies.
Yeah, it is.
All right, anything else you need to add? Probably not, right? We can move on? Yes. Okay. So the next little bit of news that I found particularly interesting is Warner Brothers just not knowing what they're doing anymore. Again, so this report is not ironclad, right? But apparently Warner Brothers is eyeing Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan in the next Green Lantern movie. They say there's the script synopsis, which again you cannot find online, so I don't know how much I can really believe these reports until we get something officially released from WB. But they're saying that the recent synopsis is calling for an older Hal between the ages of 39 and 50.
It's a pretty big gap.
Yeah. Training a young Jon Stewart as a cadet.
Okay.
And then they are also eyeing, again, this is not ironclad. This does not seem to be set in stone. This isn't even coming from WB themselves. This is kind of the rumor mill. But they're also eyeing Chris McQuarrie as the director, who has teamed up with Tom Cruise on Rogue Nation and the coming Fallout, Mission Impossible movies, as well as a couple other things they've done. The other thing to note is that at this point, Tom Cruise would be 60 years old if it comes out the year that it's supposed to be slated now. I think he's like 55 right now, or 56. So in the next 4 or 5 years, they want Green Lantern to come out, in which you'll have a 60-year-old Tom Cruise.
60-year-old Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of this information?
I don't know. I think I don't put it past Warner Brothers. I could see this being an actual idea.
That's the problem. Like,
there's somebody at Warner Brothers going, yeah, Tom Cruise would be great. You know what would make it even better? Hal Jordan. Tom Cruise is 60 years old.
Yeah. And, Hal Jordan, 5'4". I like that.
I like that 5'4" Hal Jordan.
Yep. But
sitting there, he believes in Scientology, and what is Green Lanterns but science?
I mean, think about it. The Guardians themselves is probably what Scientology's based off of. This is actually Tom Cruise reenacting his own faith.
Somebody told Tom Cruise the story of Green Lantern, and then he was like, oh shit, they're going to make a Scientology movie?
You're telling me they need a 60-year-old to play Hal Jordan? I'm available, Warner Brothers.
I'm pretty sure you're in your 70s.
Mr. Connery, get out.
God damn.
Sorry, I'll be in the back.
Jake, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to invite you.
I thought he honestly left.
I did too. I thought that would be a nice little present. Be like, hey, I got a celebrity to do the intro.
I mean, is he really a celebrity anymore?
Not really good extraordinary gentleman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tom Cruise is on his way out the same way. If Tom Cruise does Green Lantern, it'll basically be for his career what League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was for Mr. Connery. Sorry, sir. But no, I don't like this. I don't like this idea. I really hope this never happens. And as we know with Warner Brothers, anything that they come out and say, we cannot believe. And they didn't even come out and say this. So
I mean,
it's really isn't
if they
story.
did come out and say it, they probably would have it, edited 5 different times. Maybe even have a trailer house come in and edit that, and then by the time that we see it, it's a franken-fucking mess.
I'm actually surprised that whoever is breaking this story is giving Warner Brothers enough credit to say there's even a synopsis for this movie yet. So I don't know. I don't really feel the need to talk about this too much. Do you?
No, but I do have a quick question.
What's up?
Who would you want to play Hal Jordan?
Honestly, I'd go with somebody unknown. I'd want an unknown character. I want to watch Green Lantern and not go, I remember this guy from this movie.
You want Jake Fudge, right?
I mean, I could play Hal Jordan.
You could?
Yeah, and by the way, guys, be on the lookout for a new avatar for the both of us coming out soon, where this might actually look like Green Lantern.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Something I might have been working on. I don't know. I mean, I know the short list earlier was like Joel McHale, Bradley Cooper, Armie Hammer, and stuff. All of those guys, I mean, they're fine actors, whatever. Honestly, had you not already used him, I would have said Chris Pine.
Yeah.
I think he'd have been a good
Hal
Jordan.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't know. I think Bradley Cooper could probably do a pretty good job.
He's... I don't know.
It's fickle.
Yeah. But anyway, let's just move on. Okay, the next little bit of news is Chris Nolan has apparently said that he believes that Black Panther could be nominated for the Best Picture award at the next Oscars. Funny thing is that there's no actual quote here. This was apparently something that somebody gathered from the governor's ball that takes place the night before the Oscars, and I don't know. I mean, there's no quote from him online. It's just somebody may have overheard this, taken it out of context. Fuck if I know. But now apparently people are saying that Chris Nolan said that Black Panther will probably win the Best Picture award at the next year's Oscars. What are your thoughts? While I take a drink, I need you to talk.
Okay, well, my theory is that Chris Nolan doesn't know shit.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the guy is...
Don't get me wrong, Black Panther's a great movie, but I don't know if I'm not sitting here going like, oh, it's going to win Oscars.
I'm just going to point to Wonder Woman and say, like, look at its Oscar presence this past year.
Yeah.
I believe...
Suicide Squad did win an Oscar.
They won for, like, the cheapest thing you could fucking win.
Yeah, but they at least won.
And by the way, snubbed on Best Visual Effects. How did War for the Planet of the Apes not win? I know we're not talking Oscars, but that does really
we're not talking
burn my ire there.
Jordan Peele got Best Writer. I'm pretty pumped about that.
That was awesome.
Best Screenplay.
That
I was pretty
great.
pumped about that.
Yeah, and he was up against Logan too, which at least Logan got some recognition.
Some nods.
So that's awesome. Anything else you need to say about Chris Nolan? And him apparently endorsing Black Panther.
Thank you for Dark Knight. Fuck you for Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, and I really do dig Inception though.
Inception was fun.
Yeah. And The Prestige. I love The Prestige.
I do. Why does nobody? Okay,
I don't know. Not enough people talk about The Prestige when you talk about Chris Nolan.
Like The Prestige to me is like one of my. It's up there.
Dude, you got Batman and Wolverine in one movie with Alfred.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And David Bowie.
And David Bowie as Nikolai Tesla. Come on.
It's a great fucking.
It is a
movie.
good flick.
Nobody I know likes that movie.
You got the chick from Iron Man 3.
You also got Black Widow.
Oh yeah, Scarlett
Yeah.
Johansson is in that. You're right.
It's a great fucking.
It is
movie.
a great flick.
Man.
And
I'm
that
gonna go home
twist
and
at the
watch
end.
that now.
Twist
Oh
at the
yeah.
end.
Okay, anybody, if you haven't seen Prestige, go watch it.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know
great
there's a
movie.
lot of people I know that don't really care for that movie, and I'm like, you guys are stupid.
Yeah. I just remember it came out really close to The Illusionist.
Yeah, I was about to mention that too.
With
old Hulk. The Hulk, yeah, the Hulk himself. Yeah.
And Jessica Biel from Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
But that's actually a really good movie too. But Prestige is by far the better
Yes.
one. All right, so moving on to a little bit of let's keep it with the movie news. I got some other movie news for you. You might like this one.
Oh yeah.
All right, so a recent interview with Mike Mignola about the Hellboy reboot.
Uh-oh.
Mike Mignola is involved in the Hellboy screenplay
Awesome.
more so than he was with Del Toro. So what he was saying was, in the Del Toro movies, I wasn't really involved with the screenplay, but I had known Del Toro for like 6 years before we even made the movie. I got a lot of input on production and costume design, things like that, but he didn't have a whole lot of input on the script. Now this one, it's actually kind of flipped. He's got more input on the script and the screenplay, but he doesn't really get to do anything as far as design-wise. But he says that this movie is going to be more faithful to the comic books, that they are more closely adapting the comic books than Del Toro's version.
Which is really weird because, like,
I will say the first Hellboy adapted like the first 2-3 graphic novels up pretty closely.
Seed of Destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do such a good job. I mean, Del Toro did perfect. I mean, his style definitely fits that Hellboy kind of like comic book
And
universe.
I wonder how much that they're kicking themselves not doing a third one now that he just won the Shape of Water or Best Director
I know,
for Shape
right?
of Water.
Yeah, but like when you think about it, like if you ever read any Hellboy storylines, a lot of them is very gothic folklore.
Oh yeah,
this supernatural,
right?
Which is
but it's
exactly Del Toro. Like
yeah,
down...
but the thing is too about that is like it's all based in some and rooted in some truth, whether or not these folklore tales are based on true events or not, but they're all real folklore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Which I always thought that was really cool. All the supernatural elements are based on actual theories of supernatural,
like Rasputin,
stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. I will say though that Del Toro's first Hellboy movie actually, in my opinion, expanded and went a little bit deeper than the actual first couple graphic novels of Hellboy did. Like they kind of breezed through a lot of that stuff quickly, whereas the movie kind of gave time to breathe and delved into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, they planted a little bit more into it. And so when it comes to that, like you're losing. Okay, so like with Del Toro, I can understand where Mignola would be like, he'd be like, I'm not going to really worry too much about the script. I will help out with the visuals. Because you can kind of trust that. His style is very similar to...
There are very few Del Toro movies that I go, that script was weak.
Yeah.
I mean, other than maybe Pacific Rim. Well, let's be honest. Pacific Rim was never didn't set out to tell a great story. It was like, I want to have fun.
Too.
Yeah,
he mentioned it was supposed to be a tribute to the big monster movies that
when
made
he was
him
a kid,
want to make a movie.
Yeah, he's like, this is a love letter. Yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah, but him working on the script, that makes me a little bit... I like that because... His scripts,
but if you think about it, though, if you go his story,
I need that visual though.
But his comic books don't really go as in depth.
No, they're quick.
They are, and so that honestly, in a weird way, goes. Do I want Mignola to have more input? Because is he going to gloss over those character moments that I really loved in Del Toro's movie?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. I can't really judge it until I see it.
Okay, so I got 2 questions for you. How do you feel about David Harbour's Hellboy?
I'm actually pretty pumped about it.
I think to me it's a great cast.
I think if you can't do the Ron Perlman, that's your next best.
That's a great casting.
Yeah.
I can't fault the casting.
I mean, of course, I'm super ever since I've seen him in Supernatural. I mean, I remember
Supernatural.
Seeing him, Supernatural. Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yeah.
That's Supernatural.
Okay.
We're thinking Supernatural things.
Yeah.
Okay. Stranger Things. Fell in love with them. But I mean, I've always remember seeing him. I remember seeing him in like Assassination of Jesse James and Green Hornet.
End of Watch, actually.
End of Watch.
Did you ever see End of Watch?
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
He's the officer that gets stabbed in the eye,
yeah.
dude, with a fucking knife.
And then he finally kind of gets to blossom out with Stranger Things. And the only thing is like I know that my girlfriend would definitely cheat on me with him. Like with him. Yeah, I know she would. That's like her celebrity crush.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
This is documented.
Yeah, she would cheat on me, and you know what? I would let her in. He's actually going to be at the Indianapolis Comic-Con.
He is coming
And
up. When is it?
and now
April?
she wants to go. Yeah, March actually.
Is
Is
it
in March?
It's this,
End of this month.
Oh wow. Okay, I thought it was April.
And she wants to go so bad just to go meet him.
Shows you guys how prestigious of a
might-
comic shop that I am. That I won't be at an Indiana Comic-Con where my store is in
Maybe
Indiana.
if you had a good friend that could watch the shop. For
yeah,
you
who
on
won't be at
Sunday.
the Comic-Con?
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
Maybe we can go to the Comic-Con together. Close down it for the weekend.
That would be a lot of fun. Okay, last question. How do you feel about a reboot in general of Hellboy?
I think.
Are you saying it's too soon, or I'd rather see a number 3, or just leave Hellboy alone?
See, that's tough. I would like to see a reboot.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I say that is because the first Hellboy movie was great. It's great. Perfect. Second one still was a good movie. But
just
they
not as good
changed
as the
character.
first.
Yeah, it's not as good as the first, and they changed the way the characters are in the comic books, like from
They
the way
did.
they are in the
I mean,
comics.
especially Liz. But the
Yeah,
thing
the
is,
Liz, their relationship with
the
Hellboy, and then
kids,
she's pregnant.
Yeah,
and,
but I
like,
will say this: for the first one, the reason I loved it so much was it was rooted in World War II.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And there's so many stories and
That's
and
back in those
myth,
time periods,
But there's
yeah.
myth about Adolf Hitler actually delving into like the metaphysical and like alien science and things like that.
Have you? I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the movie Blood Creek?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna let you borrow it. It's a
Okay.
DVD. It's an independent film that came out years ago, back when Henry Cavill was before he was Superman.
Oh, so
He
back when he's
plays-
like in my position.
Yeah, so he plays in that with Michael Fassbender.
No shit.
Yes, and Michael Fassbender. It's a kind of a horror movie, but what it is it bases on World War II, and the whole idea that Nazis were using black magic and studying it, which is a
Which
theory.
is stuff. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I mean,
which
they
is-
they touch on it
yeah.
even in the first Avenger, where Red Skull is out to get these artifacts because Hitler is like looking into these like supernatural myths and stuff.
That's
Yeah,
exactly the same thing that happens in this movie. And Dominic, I think it's Dominic Cooper.
Oh,
the guy who
Dominic-
plays
oh,
Heatwave.
Howard Stark.
No, not Dominic Cooper. I'm mixing it up.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Dominic something.
Yeah,
yeah.
The guy that plays Heatwave in
Prison Break,
Flash.
yeah.
In Prison Break. He plays in it too. It's actually not a bad movie. Especially if you're into that kind of stuff. I know I interrupted you, but like
No.
you're talking about
that
it.
actually
and-
sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I'll bring the
I do want to
DVD
check
for
that
you
out.
to watch it. It's a pretty good movie.
But anyway, what I liked about the first Hellboy was that it used that and it kind of anchored the film there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're like, so you can kind of buy into everything that happens, and it had a much more dark aesthetic, a more gothic feel to everything. And then when you go to Golden Army, everything's pristine. It's elves and trolls,
Yeah.
and it took a leap for me to be able to buy into the movie, and I think because it took me out of it to go, you went from World War II, Russian ties and all this stuff, and then you went to elves and trolls and this really mystical, fantastical thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that the comic books have done that, but the aesthetic also wasn't in keeping with the first one, you know?
And that plus also, they feel like two different movies.
They feel like
Yeah.
almost
And
like two
even
separate franchises.
In the comic books, like that's some of the best. The earlier Hellboy stories are really good because even when they do deal with that stuff, it's still very dark. It's still very dark, gothic.
It keeps the
feel
same
to it.
color palette. Like this one just didn't do it. And and like in the first one too, when Jeffrey Tambor's like on that talk show, he's like, "How come in all these sightings of the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot, they're all out of focus?" And I'm like, that's actually a really good point.
It really is.
Like so of Hellboy.
Yeah.
So it's, I was like,
Hellboy.
so again, it adds a little bit more credence to the idea that it's a believable story that I'm watching. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
it's
the-
like, oh yeah, there could be all this like weird, strange shit happening in these like clandestine organizations that I just don't know about, and then you're like, troll market. I'm like, okay, no, I know that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and which once again, the comic books do that. But
Yeah.
the thing is with the comic books, like what you said, it's kind of like this gothic folklore, but it roots very closely to real life. You know,
Right.
they deal. You know, it's like they bring up trolls and
Yeah,
stuff,
these
but they
things
also
that
bring
are
it up in
just
World War II.
outside the margin of believability,
Yeah.
but kind of toe the line enough to make me go,
And-
okay.
And in the first movie, they realize like, okay, so it does. They realize that aspect, and they just went more with the aspect of making it more realistic. That's the way you're going to get that to translate well
Yeah.
in film. And the second one comes around, and it's just everything that they did that kind of contradicts
Prince
it. And then,
Nuada.
yeah, and then they tried to instead of making it seem more realistic, they tried to make the characters seem more like, hey, Abe's in love with someone. Like, yeah, Abe's in love with the girl.
And they also got a different voice actor. Like, the first voice actor for Abe was Fraser's brother.
Yeah, and then they did Doug Jones.
Yeah, then Doug Jones
he just tried to
so
him.
again, it just kind of took you out. But anyway, this is not a Hellboy review for the.
Yeah, this has been a long one.
Here's the thing, though. I don't want this. I don't want to see when this movie inevitably does come out. You know what the fan base is gonna do is, and David Harbour's so much better than that fucking hack Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro. And blah. You know what's going to happen. There's going to be this is my Hellboy, this is not my Hellboy. It's going to split the fans. And for me, I'm just like, you know what? I'm fine with the reboot because if they were never going to go ahead and make a third Hellboy, then fine. Reboot it. It's a great character. Do something new with the franchise. And I can have both. I can go, I love this Hellboy, and now I really like this Hellboy, or I really love this Hellboy. And I don't have to go, which one do I like more? I go, I get to have them fucking both.
That's one of the best things about Hellboy, especially in the comic books, is you really don't have a really long-standing storyline. Everything is usually a mini series,
right?
With Hellboy,
it's got the mini arcs.
Yeah, and it's like it's not. It doesn't follow really a chronological time. I mean, you got the BPRD.
Yeah, but you have so many different ones. You have BPRD in the 1955. Now you got this Rasputin, Enter the Dragon, or
they're
something.
all different time periods. They're all different years. We're going way back. We're going,
You get to just explore all these different times with Hellboy, and it's not like this linear progression of events that we follow Hellboy through. It's just kind of little vignettes into his life, So
it's an easy character where you can do that, and people shouldn't complain.
Right, and the only thing is that the only reason I would want a Hellboy 3 is I want to see the prophecy fulfilled where he's supposed to be like the harbinger of death.
Yes.
That would have been cool because in the first one we got to see like the flame crown on his head without horns grown out. That was fucking rad.
Yeah, it was.
And visually to see, it's not a crown, it's flames, and you just see as the flames crackle, there's the crown. Inside there somewhere. I thought that was just brilliant production design. But anyway, I'm excited for the movie. I can't wait to see it. I don't actually think... I think it comes out in 2019. I don't think it comes out this year.
No, I think it comes out like... Yeah. I know that they already released like art and like promo pictures and stuff.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, they even post, I think at a couple of cons and stuff, they've had banners of it, advertising the movie.
I know David Harbour said that he had to get back in shape because they just recently started doing reshoots. So, and don't freak out anybody who thinks that reshoots are a bad thing. Every movie builds in reshoot time. So
yeah.
They could just be pickups for all we know. But anyway, I'm excited for the movie. I'm glad that we've got Del Toro's films, and I'll always love that first one. And I like the second one enough. I'm excited to see what they do with this character moving forward in a new franchise. I mean, think about it. It was 2004 when the first one came out. 14 years ago.
Plenty of time.
We got time, so
plenty of time.
All right, so that is kind of the last of our movie news. Everything else is going to be comic book related. Woo! So if you guys are only here for the movie news, I guess that's...
I guess you should reread the fucking title. It says comic relief.
Yeah.
He owns a comic book store, you dumbass.
Yeah, we got to devote time to the comic books, guys. I love this medium, and I love reading them. I love collecting them. So anybody out there who likes to read comic books, here's some cool things that are on the horizon coming up. Jeff Lemire and Aaron Kim Jacinto, I think it's Jacinto, he's Filipino, are doing a New Century comic book,
which pumps me up because I've been reading New Avengers.
Yeah, I thought you liked that.
Century's a badass dude.
He is a bad motherfucker, but you haven't gotten far enough.
I know. I'm going
so
to get there, though.
I was gonna say that the Void. Jeff Lemire has come out and said that the Void will be a part of the series, which I think is great.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go into too much of what I think I would want to see, only because you're not far enough into Century's real lore yet to talk about it. But if you think, here's the thing too. Jeff Lemire is writing a lot of fucking comic books right now.
Yeah, he is.
It's a little nerve-wracking to think that because I know he's doing Black Hammer. He's doing like the Black Hammer spinoffs.
Yeah.
He just came out with Gideon Falls.
Dr. Star, right?
Yeah, Dr. Star's one of the spinoffs. He's doing Gideon Falls, and he's got a lot of other things on his plate, and I'm kind of like, he's going to be into the Bendis thing where he's juggling too many titles at once, and I don't want to see that. But he did the last run on Moon Knight before this newest one, and that was very psychological. And I think that's an element that you need to bring to Century because he is, for lack of a better term, a split personality. Oh, that's awesome. The Amazing Spider-Man poster I have up just fell as I talked about the Sentry. Okay.
I think that's Bad Omen, right?
Yeah, that's an omen for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, the psychological element is definitely something you need with a character like Sentry because he is really more or less a split personality. So I'm very excited about that. Other things on the docket: Dan Slott, after over 10 years, I believe, on The Amazing Spider-Man, is now going to do Invincible Iron Man. And with the way things have been going for The Amazing Spider-Man lately, and he's had some really fresh ideas. I know a lot of people poo-pooed all over the Superior Spider-Man, and then they read it. They're like, this is fucking brilliant.
I know. Superior Spider-Man, like, was one of... and I didn't get into it until towards the end.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a buddy, Craig. He was reading
Yeah.
it, and he kept telling me about it. And every once in a great while, I'd get an issue, start getting into it, and get out. The same way I do with Amazing Spider-Man. And, man, Superior Spider-Man was so good. It was so good.
And I know a lot of people go, oh, yeah, but he brought you Brand New Day. The guy owns it. He's like, yeah, that sucked. But guess what? We had to do something, and we had no other better ideas because we had to bring Spider-Man back to where we needed him to be. So, yeah, we threw in this little MacGuffin. Sorry. But now The Amazing Spider-Man's been pretty fucking top-notch.
Yeah, it is.
I know we're going to end up talking about it later in our What Are We Reading segment. So another one is Jason Aaron doing the Avengers with Ed McGuinness. Now Mark Waid's run's going to be over, and Jason Aaron's coming on to do the Avengers. I'm very fucking excited for this because, okay, hold on. Let's look at some of Jason Aaron's greatest hits here.
Hit me with them. Come on, break it down.
He's been doing the Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor.
He's been doing the Mighty Thor, dude, and it is just fucking... It's just been such a good run, and especially the God Killer run with Gore, God Killer, God Bomb, everything that's come after that's been great. He did the first 40 issues of the new Star Wars series, which was fucking phenomenal.
He did the Darth Vader too, right?
Did he do Darth? No.
No, Darth Maul.
No. I can't. Now, for the life of me, I can't think what else the fucking Jason Aaron has done, but he's done a lot of stuff. Oh, he did, shit. Fuck, I can't remember. Oh, I don't know.
He didn't do shit, fuck.
No, he's done a lot of other great stuff though, and he's one of my favorite writers in comics right now, and it makes me feel. I know it makes me feel horrible. I can't spit out more of his works.
Let's get away from Jason Aaron real quick. I want to ask you a question about Dan Slott on Invincible Iron Man.
Okay.
I know that you're not.
Are you gonna do some fucking joke here?
No.
Okay, I thought the adopting thing was.
The adopting thing. I'm not going to keep doing that. It's an ongoing thing, and I know. But now it's getting to the point where it's not even funny anymore because you're numb to it.
Yeah.
So I just say it, and you're just like, fuck off.
It's like a local anesthetic, dude.
Yeah. You don't even give a shit.
Yeah.
Give a shit about it now. But Dan Slott on Invincible Iron Man.
Yeah.
I know that Bendis was kind of not hitting all the notes for you with Invincible Iron Man. So are you excited about Dan Slott on?
I am. I think he's going to bring something very new to Iron Man. I think because he does a great job at writing Peter Parker. He really does. He does a great job of giving Peter a voice.
Don't go too much about that. We'll talk about that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to lend a fresh voice to Tony, and I don't think he's going to try and mimic too much what we've seen in the movies. I think the comics have smartly kind of start to strayed away from making Iron Man too much Robert Downey Jr. in the comics.
Podcast.
It's very possible, dude. They're probably one of the 40 listeners that we have.
Yeah. That's the one thing that's really sad about going and watching or reading the new Avengers and everything. You don't really get a whole lot of that Robert Downey Jr.
Right, so you see what Iron Man felt like more pre Tony Stark or pre Robert Downey Jr.'s casting.
And then you start reading stuff with after Robert Downey Jr. and you're just like, wow, they really did change that character a bit.
Do you see now when reading the new Avengers how much Tony Stark in the comic books is not really the Tony Stark that you see in the movies?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and I love both iterations. I do.
We talked about that last week about how you don't really get the same interactions. Not just because you don't have Fantastic Four in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you don't really get those interactions because they focus so hard to making Tony in the movies a futurist and the genius of the group and all this stuff, and now you don't get that. When you read like New Avengers, you have
they've made him just so essential to the Avengers in the movies.
Yeah,
and he's not really that in the comics.
No, in the comic books, he's there, but really, you kind of, not to be mean, but you kind of only view him as the money. And I mean, he does bring the tech.
He's like co-leader with Cap, but he knows and respects Cap enough to kind of take a back seat to him.
Yes, exactly.
So
and that's the thing too is like in in the Avengers movies, he does pay, homage to, Bruce Banner being smart when it comes to gamma radiations and stuff like that. But in the comic books, he doesn't just do that with Cap. He does that with
Reed.
Hank. He does it with Reed. He knows when he needs to back off. He knows who's the experts, and he knows he's not afraid to mention, bring himself down on that level, saying like, this isn't my area. Like,
he knows his place.
He knows his place. Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm excited to see what Dan Slott does. And honestly, the last great Iron Man run we had was probably Matt Fraction's run. And that was probably back, I think that started back in 06 or 07. And that's the last time we had a really great Iron Man run, because he brought old villains back, he made new villains, and they all worked really well. But it was an example of long-form storytelling. It wasn't just 6-7 issues here, 6-7 issues there, maybe a filler issue in between. It was like, it was just starts off from the Five Nightmares and goes on, and you have the Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, everything that just kind of came out of the wake of Civil War. I think in almost every title was just hitting their mark, and Iron Man was no exception. And you had Salvador LaRocca on the art, and I think he's just a beautiful artist. So anyway, I'm very excited for Dan Slott to do Iron Man. From what I'm hearing, he's going to be doing like a new armor every time, which is, I don't know if I like that, because it lends itself to the idea of like the Freak of the Week. And he's like, oh, well, I'm fighting Living Laser here. I'm going to need my EMP suit. Or I'm fighting, Titanium Man, so I better go get, my fucking stealth armor. Or, I don't really want that. I want something with some nuance. I want something with some intelligence behind it. Something that it's like, in the background, there's a story brewing, and Tony Stark is just living his day-to-day while everything is going on in secret. And then everyone's like, now is our time to strike on Tony. But I want long form storytelling in my comics anymore.
And Dan Slott's good at that.
He is. He's really good. I mean, he's been building to what's going on now for probably a good 15, 20 issues.
Yeah, and the thing is too, is while he's doing that and he's building up on that, he's still keeping you entertained, where you don't feel like you're just sitting there waiting. He's also giving you little stories in between, It doesn't all just one long drawn out story,
right?
But it's also not just a bunch of fragmented.
Well, no, I mean, because here's the thing:
stories.
As we live our life, it's a day-to-day thing.
Yes,
Each day we deal with new obstacles, new issues, new forms of happiness. But it's like, each day comprises that week. In that week, maybe you've got something going on, so you're preparing for it. It's like, you need that in your comic books. You don't need day-to-day, every couple issues there's a new freak of the week, or there's a new enemy, there's and the thing that I like about this too is that Dan Slott is only doing the Amazing Spider-Man right now he won't be doing, as far as I know, he's not doing Amazing Spider-Man once he makes the jump over to Iron Man. So that means Iron Man's going to be the only series he's working on, whereas Bendis was going Invincible Iron Man, Infamous Iron Man, Defenders, what else was he doing? Jessica Jones. Like, he was doing 4 or 5 titles at least.
We counted one time. I think he was there for a little bit. He was
6?
up at 7.
Yeah, so
within this like last year, I think at most he was doing 7.
Right. So Dan Slott should only be doing Iron Man, which should mean all of his attention is focused on doing Iron Man, which should hopefully breed a great run. And I'm hoping that it's not like, oh yeah, we're bringing Dan Slott on for like a 12-issue thing. No, let the guy go as long as he's got a story. Know. But okay, so
now, Jason Aaron, while you were talking, now do you have any?
No, now I'm all on Dan Slott's dick, but I'm slobbing that slot.
And I didn't make a dick joke yet.
No,
you did it.
I did the dick joke.
Oh man,
this
I was
time.
trying so hard not to make a dick joke.
That was me.
So hard, my penis.
Yeah. Oh, there. Oh, you did.
There
the
we
dick.
go.
You can't help yourself.
I can't help myself when it comes to dicks. I just can't.
Kate, documented. It's documented.
It's documented.
But no, I almost want to pause the podcast right now and bring up Jason Aaron, and just bring up his, because I know he's got one other series that I'm just like, I loved that run, and I can't remember for the life of me what the fuck it was.
I mean, I remember. I think it was like Darth Vader. I don't read a whole lot of Star Wars.
No,
comics.
he wasn't. I don't think he did Darth Vader. Maybe he did.
I think maybe it was.
I think he did
Darth
do. I think
Maul?
no. I think he did he started off this new Darth Vader series. I think you're right.
Because he only started it for a few issues, and it was really good. I remember everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Everybody was going crazy about it. And then they changed writers. Bunn, I think, came in.
Yeah.
Because he always comes in and carries off when the writer leaves.
Yes, he does.
And then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah. Oh, Punisher Max. He did the Punisher Max
series. Oh, my God.
series.
How could we forgot that?
God damn it. He did the Punisher Max.
Oh, my God.
Kingpin, Bullseye, Homeless.
Fuck.
Dude,
I can't believe we forgot that.
I was about to say. I know there was another great run. That's what it was.
I
It was
always
Punisher
forget
Max.
Punisher Max though until somebody mentions it, which is usually you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a really good story.
Yeah. So if you're putting that guy, that writer who has that much talent on Avengers, I'm all in, dude. I'm thinking this could be a great run.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be doing Thor anymore. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's actually leaving Thor.
And I hate saying this. It makes me feel bad for saying it because I don't like talking bad about a lot of writers. There's a few writers I don't like.
Sure.
But like,
Kieran Gillen.
yeah,
I'll call him out. Fuck him.
Why don't you like him?
I don't know. I set myself up for that. Fuck
yeah,
you.
you did. Okay, so but Mark Waid, I love Mark Waid.
I love Mark Waid, but I gotta say his recent stuff has not been good.
Yeah, Champion started off really fucking strong. It's kind of, I mean, it's picking back up a little bit.
Okay, here's a weird thing to think about. He sold out his ownership of All Yeah Comics because he and his girlfriend ran it and they broke up. Mm-hmm. Now, Champion started how long ago?
Champion started.
How many issues in is that? 20-something?
It's about 20-something issues in. It's
And
started
it's been
probably
going
back
on.
2016.
It's a monthly title.
Yeah.
When do you think Champion started dipping in quality?
When the breakup started happening. I
Maybe
mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not trying to blame.
He's doing
that.
Champions, Avengers. I know he's also doing Captain America right now. So he's juggling a lot of titles. He's probably making a few shifts in his personal life. So maybe his work's suffering for it.
That's what. That's
because his Daredevil run was great.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say that maybe he needs to take a little bit of break, a little
maybe he
me
needs
time.
a little sabbatical. Yeah.
Yeah, and go on like some kind of retreat. Find a couple biddies.
Yep.
Stick his dick in it,
A couple biddies.
and then get back to his pen on paper and write some good stories for me to
He needs
read
to take
again.
his flesh pen and put it back on paper.
Yeah, put that flesh pen and just wipe it all on that
Yeah,
paper.
man, just let the babies
I
come
want to
out.
pull my comic book out, and I want to smell
We opened
Mark
up
Waid dick.
We opened up the floodgates to dick jokes.
Man.
We did.
We open up the foreskin
Jesus.
to a nice, firm
We
head of
circumcised the
dick
podcast, and here comes all the dick jokes.
jokes. Liam!
All right. Is there anything else you need to say about any of this?
No. I'm excited about both of those. Those are two transitions that I will not.
How do you feel? Okay, here's a little.
I mean, the only thing that worries me is Dan Slott off of Amazing Spider-Man. He's doing such a good
I don't know who's
job.
picking that up. I'm a little off the cuff question. How do you feel about this? What is it called? What are they calling this? Marvel refresh, something like that.
Oh, the like
renumbering and. Here's the thing. Some people are like, because as you know, I talk to a lot of quote unquote comic fans throughout the day.
Yeah.
And all I hear from them is, "Oh, Marvel's rebooting again. Marvel's rebooting," and I go, hold on. When was their last real reboot? Because if you think about it, it was in 2015. That was their last reboot. Since then, DC has had a reboot. Actually, DC has had more reboots than Marvel in the past 5 years.
People can argue that Marvel Legacy
and
was,
that's my thing.
but
Legacy
really
is
that
not a
wasn't.
reboot.
No,
they just went to numbering their titles to some of their original older titles
to the verse volumes,
right?
Which was really great and really smart.
I
like
and
that.
a lot of cool lenticulars came out of it. A lot of people started picking the books back up.
And then also you get to see, like, you look at this number and you just kind of go like, man, you just start kind of respecting. Like, you look at that character and you go, I did not realize that character's had close to 300 issues.
Right.
It's
and
really,
just their main run, because then there's all these other side runs that have happened. But you know what I'm really excited about?
What?
Iron Man number 600, Daredevil number 600, Captain America, I think number 700. All these are coming out, and you know what? Boo on you. I don't give a shit. Everyone loves an issue 1, and everyone loves a century mark in their comic books.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I will be buying my own Iron Man 600, Daredevil 600, Captain America 700. I will be buying those for my own collection because that is just fucking cool.
It's fucking awesome. Everybody knows
Action Comics 1000.
Yeah.
I will be buying a copy of
exactly.
that.
That was what I was about to say. Everybody here, like, if you know me, you know I fucking hate Superman. I don't like Superman. Granted, Bendis writing Superman, I'm going to have to read it because I love Bendis.
Absolutely.
That's how much I love Bendis.
I might actually have to collect that series only because I've got a weird feeling that
he's going to Ultimate Comics it.
Well, what's going to happen?
Going to retcon that shit?
No, this is going to be a seminal run in Superman mythology. I think that this is going to go down as one of the more memorable, more significant titles for Superman.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's something that I think as a collector you should probably want in single issue.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do too.
Yeah.
But like, this is exactly what you said though. I love. I hate Superman, but I'm getting Action Comics 1000. Not just because Bendis that's his introduction to DC, but also it's 1,000.
This is the first comic title to ever hit 1,000 issues.
Yeah, 1,000. And then even if it wasn't the first one to hit 1,000, but like Captain, because like 600, those are big deals.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
600 comics.
Yeah,
like that's just like exciting when you think about it.
And that's honestly, if you think about it, it's not even there's been 600 total Iron Man comics.
No.
Oh fuck no, there have been probably closer to 1,000, but in just the main Volume 1 run.
Yeah.
Now there are 600 issues in that title.
It's exciting.
That is,
Yeah,
and as if you're a completist or a completionist, I don't know what the right vernacular there is,
I
but
bought Thor, Mighty Thor 700 when
Yeah.
it came out.
I think I did too.
Yeah, I mean, it had a sick cover. Let's be
That
honest.
wraparound cover was gorgeous. Yeah,
But like, also, it's a landmark moment.
It is.
700 issues. Be proud. Fucking
exactly.
flaunt that
when
shit.
when you're dead and your kids are going through your fucking collection, you're like, dude, my dad's got fucking issue 700, 600. Wow, he was like around for all this shit, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's cool. Anyways, anything else you need to add before we go on to our last segment of the day?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I got a haircut, so I don't look
You
like a
do.
bum.
Honestly, you look a lot more like your avatar. That
I
people are
do.
gonna
I
see
do.
on
I look
Hellboy.
like the actual Avatar now.
Yeah, you look like Hellboy again.
Yeah. I finally, I decided because it was the winter, I was going to Grizzly Adams it. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean the beard's still pretty grizzly.
yeah, the beard is still pretty grizzly, and I decided I'm like, you know what? It's time not to be so grizzly.
So that's what's happening in his personal life, guys.
Well, I was actually sitting here thinking about this when we first started this, and I was kind of going like, we should have a little personal moment.
Should we have a personal moment before we have our last segment?
Well, I would like to have a personal moment.
Okay, so
I
hold on. I want to kind of dovetail this a bit and go, guys, if you're listening and you're wondering a little bit about the people that you listen to, maybe on a regular basis, I don't really know, but if you're like, I want to know these guys a little bit better, here's your opportunity. Here's a quick couple minutes glimpse into the personal lives of Jake and Josh.
I like long walks on the beach.
Fuck off. What did you want to ask?
Okay. No, okay. So, actually, this is just me kind of just getting a name drop of friends podcast. But how did you feel about being prank called because of your last podcast? If you decided you were wanting to hit them fanboys.
The way I felt is exactly what I said. They called me at the end of the day. Here's my day. It's 8 o'clock. I'm like, thank God, I'm closing up. I want to go home. I'm tired. And 8:01, my fucking shop phone rings.
I love that it's 8:01.
8:01, man. And I get a call from someone, and they start bashing me about one of our podcasts.
Yeah.
I know instantly it's a joke. I'm just trying to figure out who it is. And then I hear this guy, and I'm like, I recognize this speech pattern. And I go, is this Kyle? And I didn't hear this when I was on the phone with him, but I heard it later in the video that they decided to post up on Facebook. He goes, fuck your mother. And I heard that. I probably would have been a little angry. I'm not going to lie. I love my mother. You guys want to know something personal about me? I love my mother. And
I love my mom too.
That woman's a fucking saint, and I would go to war for that woman. So best be careful on those insults. But no, the way I felt about it was exactly what I said. Is I'm too good for this shit. You prank call me, I'm gonna figure out who you are real quick.
Was this on their podcast too that they end up?
No. They posted it on Facebook, and I think they had just, as far as I know, they had just finished up their podcast. Yeah, which is the James Eversole Jr. movie podcast. James, I love you, dude. You gotta find a shorter name for that.
Yeah. Here's the thing too about this. This is the one thing that cracked me up when I heard this. One, I was amazed. One, because you called it out real fast, okay? But my favorite part about this is, no offense, guys, you guys do a podcast where you ask Jake to listen to your podcast so he can hear your guys' voice.
Yeah.
And then you want to prank call him using your voice.
Very familiar voices.
You should have had somebody else do it that he doesn't know, because he listens to your guys' podcast and he's gonna go, that's fucking Kyle. I heard that voice just like 15 minutes ago when I was listening to a podcast.
Yep.
I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
okay, now we can get back to the.
Well, okay, I do want to say one thing personally for me. Had a cool thing just happen not too long ago on Monday, actually.
Yep. Orgasms and wet dreams are completely natural. It's part of getting older.
Yeah, well, you know what the thing is, I haven't had one since I was a
And
teenager.
having sex with
so
a female,
that's
I
still
know
a
it's
new
magical
sensation.
thing.
Yeah. No, but I did want to say that my girlfriend and I just hit our 1 year anniversary together.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, she calls it our 1 year anniversary, and that's fine. But it was actually the 1 year anniversary to the day of our first date. But she wants to use that date, and I'm completely fine with it.
Probably a better date.
Probably is, because I honestly couldn't tell you the exact day. We're like, we are official. But
I mean, if I got together with somebody and our anniversary was September 11th, and that's the day that I'm going to be like, can we just say it's the day that we went on our first date?
or the 12th.
I don't want to tell everybody that our anniversary is on September 11th.
Yeah. But I just wanted to say that that was pretty cool. I love my girlfriend very much. And
How's the book going?
the book? The Super Poo book.
Yeah, Super Poo.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, my girlfriend writes a book for her son called Super Poo, and she's put out 2 of them on Amazon now, and you can check them out. They're funny. They're cute little books. She does all the illustrations and the writing, and I give story ideas. She credits me.
Yeah, you're credited on it.
Yeah, she credits me a little too much. I just like to give her little ideas to use, and she figures out what to do with them. But no, it's pretty cool. But Lex, if you're listening, I love you, and happy 1 year. Oh, yeah, that's me getting a little sappy. Now let's get back to the more sardonic tone of the comic relief
Dicks
cast.
and penises.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put my dick in your foreskin.
in your butthole. All right,
I'm gonna swish it around.
on to the next segment. What are we reading?
What are they reading?
We need something new.
Bow, bow.
All right, so I've got a list of comics that I read this week
Yeah.
for today that just came out today that I'd like to talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to talk about that might be on my list?
Let's see. I don't know if I should. Okay, that one,
Yeah.
that one,
Okay.
and that one. I'll let you talk about that one.
All right. So let's just go in this order and we can talk about it.
And that one, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stroke that cock.
Careful,
Sorry.
dude. I know it's just flopped
It's
out.
just everywhere. There's nowhere for me to rest my shit.
And just avert your eyes. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is Green Arrow issue 38. This is the end of the Ben Percy and Juan Freire run, I believe, and it's been a killer run. Kind of weird they decided to end it on issue 38. I don't know why you wouldn't make it a solid 40, but
Yeah.
I mean, if this is where they felt that they needed to wrap up the story, cool. I don't know who's taking on after this run, but it was actually a satisfying little conclusion.
It was.
Um,
It's been a very. It was, for me. It was a little bit of a letdown. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a little bit of a letdown, but the thing is, they could have wrapped it up way quicker and way worse.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Had
They
they
didn't go
drawn
the
this
bad
out
route.
for another issue, if we could have seen a little bit more of the trial of Oliver.
Yeah, the trial that
Well-
trial that lasted only 3 pages.
Yeah, maybe. But I did like his tactic and the way he went about
It
it
was
in the
great.
courtroom. I liked that. I'm like, this feels very Oliver
Justice
Queen.
League
It's
coming
brash.
in, yeah.
That I really loved the Justice League
Yeah,
cameo.
that was great.
It was
Yeah.
good. I love the interactions. I've been saying this ever since. I love the interactions between Ollie and Dinah. So
I love it. It's perfect.
that is one of the best romances in comic books.
Yeah,
That's how you do a
I agree.
romance, you know.
I agree. 100%.
I knew the Wendy girl was going to come in at some point. I'm like, this chick's alive.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks
it's
he
predictable.
killed her. So I'm like, she's been in the background forever. I knew she was coming out to basically
So she was a lesbian.
No, just yeah. No, but just to basically get him off scot-free is good. And now he's like, which I thought was an interesting move. They don't want to actually keep it Star City because, historically that's where Green Arrow's from, is Star City.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to name Seattle again, but now he's going to do a lot more humanitarian stuff. And I was honestly convinced he was going to come out and call himself Green Arrow. Because I can't remember for the life of me in this run if the public knows he's Green Arrow. I'm pretty sure they don't.
I don't think they do.
And I thought he was going to do that in the courtroom.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So anyway, I'm kind of sad to see this team go on Green Arrow. I'm hoping that whoever creative team comes on next is just as good, if not better. No, Bendis won't be doing it.
No.
But this is one of my I have 3 runs in DC right now that I think are just the best, which is Hal Jordan's Green Lantern Corps, Aquaman, and Green Arrow. So
And I agree because you were the one that got me to start reading Green Arrow. I think about when it was about 20 issues in, and I caught up on that book.
yeah, you
so
barreled
fast.
through those.
Yeah, it was a great, and it was a fantastic run.
It is
It's great, and then I was wanting to end on a bigger note.
kind of like Invincible for
granted,
me.
it's not over.
It's not over.
Over.
Whereas
It's just that
Invincible
team
is over, so that bums me
Oh,
out a little
you
bit.
poor guy.
I know. All right, so the next one we can both talk about again.
Yeah, we can both talk about
Amazing Spider-Man 797 by Dan Slott.
Now,
You're the one who pushed me to read this, so why don't you talk a little bit about it?
this was actually my favorite thing I read from the past 2 weeks.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I read some pretty good stuff last year, and last week, and I probably would remember. It probably just hasn't clicked to me because I've read so much this past week. But man, I read it today while I was at work, in between my job, and the whole issue has been sorry, the last few issues have been leading towards the Red Goblin.
Yeah.
And which, if you guys don't know, I'm going to go ahead and fucking spoil it for you.
I mean, it's been teased for the past 6-7
Yeah.
issues, so
Norman Osborn's back, and
he's got the
he
Carnage
has Carnage
symbiote.
symbiote.
Yeah.
And it sounds really kind of, when you say it out loud like this, just like Superior Spider-Man, it sounds super corny when
Here's
you
the
come
thing.
out and pitch
Every
it out.
idea you put out can sound stupid. Okay,
That's true.
let's be honest. We're talking superheroes and fake bullshit all day. Anything can sound stupid, but with the right writer behind it and the right ideas behind it, it can be executed well, and this was
yeah.
executed well.
Yeah, and this issue was just it was slightly eerie, but it had the perfect, commentary.
What I really liked about it was that it had a film noir feel to it because you start
Exactly.
off with Norman Osborn and he's interrogating somebody, and you don't know who it is. But then we flash back 4 hours. Then we flash back to Norman still interrogating this guy, and he's almost narrating this issue for you. And then you go back to Spider-Man. Then you come back, and it's like it's a film noir style because even in the aesthetics of the way the Norman panels are drawn, it's very dark, it's very shadowy, and you don't know who he's talking to. And I mean, I don't think we need to spoil who he's talking to. I think that's one of the best reveals.
No, that's the best thing because
But also,
they lead you to think there's so many different people.
And there's a death in this issue that I'm actually really happy about.
I am too.
Yeah,
I was excited
I'm
about
glad
it
to
too.
see that character die.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped about it too. It's great. I mean, it's a great storytelling. One I love about it is Dan Slott. We were talking about. He's really good at writing Peter Parker.
He is. He has a
He's
great voice.
great.
He's good
great
at
at writing Norman.
Yeah.
Oh my, in this issue, it shows how fucking awesome he is at writing Norman.
And it honestly reminds you how sinister Norman Osborn
Oh my god,
really
it gave me
is.
fucking chills.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason. That was the main reason why I was like, I need you to read this book and just make sure.
Well, you were like, dude, I need you to read this because I don't know if I'm fucking nuts because apparently you'd been interrupted in your reading.
It took
so
for a comic book that should only take you about 10 minutes at most to read.
Yeah.
It took me literally 4 hours to read.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was reading it like little bits here and there and here and there. And so by the time I came here, I'm like, I need you to read it because to me, this is fucking amazing. And
no pun intended.
yeah, no pun intended. And that was the one thing. I mean, reading Norman, it legitimately, I'm not gonna lie, it gave me fucking chills.
Yeah.
Like
He
there's
was good. It was really good.
I'm really
And
excited.
I'll say
about
this
it.
too: the interaction between Mary Jane and Peter, I liked it, man. I like
Oh my
I like
God,
that
yes.
they're setting you up for the familiar, and then they kind of subvert your expectation with
Yeah.
it. And him and Mary Jane, I'm just like, I love their interactions lately in the
Yeah.
comics. Since Parker Industries has fallen, and even a little bit before then, I like seeing them interact because there's such a rich history there, and you know it even in the knowing glances, between them and the art. You just know there's just a history there. It's just dripping
Yeah.
with every page, and then. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, this is the love of his life, and they've tried this 100 fucking times. It never seems to work, and I don't know. I dig it, and I gotta give a shout out to Stuart Immonen too. The on art, I love this guy as an artist. I first came across him, I believe, in Bendis' All New X-Men, and then he did a lot of the Aaron Star Wars stuff too. I think the guy's a great artist, and I think it's really a treat to have him on Spider-Man.
Well, then the other treat about it too, Alex Ross on the covers.
Oh yeah, Alex Ross been doing all the covers.
Covers, man.
I will say this though, I did see that I forget in the new Spider-Man series that's coming out. Again, I don't know who's writing it for the life of me. I can't remember. But Ryan Otley's doing the art.
Oh,
and
really?
If you don't know who Ryan Otley is, he was the guy who did like 80% of the Invincible run.
Oh,
and so I've been
man.
seeing him on Instagram, and he's been posting up his Spider-Man
be
stuff.
great.
And dude,
I could
his
see that
Venom
being, yeah.
is gnarly.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I could see that.
If you guys want to check out Ryan Otley on Instagram, that's definitely a cool guy to look at right now because you
Yeah.
get to see his Invincible style,
But with
which I only know.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, which I only know from Invincible, but now I get to watch it and see it in Spider-Man.
That is a great person. Like,
Yeah,
'cause that's
Marvel
great
tapped a
little
great
transition.
talent there for Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and which has got me even more excited for the book. But all right, anything else you want to say about Spider-Man before we move on?
I was going to say something about it.
I'm going down my list, and I think as far as I can tell, you've got well, I don't have that, but you got a lot of stuff. Let me go on with my next one.
Yeah, go ahead, go.
Rogue and Gambit number 3. This is by far the best iteration of Gambit I've seen in a long time, and of Rogue. And it doesn't hurt that she's scantily clad through most of it, but the thing is too, well, here's the thing. The setting and everything that's going on with it lends itself for her to be doing this. They're like on vacation, on a little couples retreat in like the fucking Bahamas or Bora Bora, wherever they are.
Interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
Why does it feel like, and I might be the only person, anytime when I was younger, I remember, because when I first started reading comics, it was Uncanny X-Men is what I read. And a lot of it was in the 90s, so the main thing was always Rogue and Gambit. And I felt like in a lot of issues, you always have Rogue and Gambit on vacation in like bikini and Speedos.
Yeah, that was a lot of 90s stuff,
I feel like that's like a lot of issues.
Yeah, but
where
like
we
the
have them on
X-Men were
vacation.
always with them, and this it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, kind of like what we were talking about with Mary Jane and Peter, you
Oh,
get
wait a
a
minute.
lot of you get a lot of history there. Like
That's
their
what I was gonna
interactions,
talk
you just
about.
know there's a lot of history. What do you want to say?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about with that. Was I used to love Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man. I used to think that was the ideal relationship. And in this right here, it just kind of seals that. Like, I found myself going, I want them to be together.
Mary Jane and Peter? Yeah,
and
you
then
do.
I was like, I instantly
You're
was like,
rooting for them. You want them
yeah,
to
and
be
I'm
together,
like,
yeah.
yes. And then that's exactly the same thing with Rogue and Gambit.
Yeah.
Like, you want them to be together so
And
bad.
I'll tell you what, man. It took me till this issue to go. I know what they're doing with this book. This book is literally it's just fan service, but
It's
in
fun.
the best way.
Yeah.
You know, it's because everyone who's an X-Men fan, especially from the 90s, loves Rogue and Gambit together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've basically created a book in which they can just do daytime soap opera with Rogue and Gambit, but you get to add, you know, like your classic superhero stuff to it. You know what I mean? Like there's a villain, there's a story, there's something going on they got to figure out. But in the forefront of it all is just Rogue and Gambit working on their relationship together, and it's just, I mean, there's so many nice nods to their history, like things that have happened from the 90s on. You know, it's just like, oh, you remember this time? Remember when we first met? Remember the first time we fucked, basically, you know, all this stuff. And it's really endearing, but this is honestly the best voice that's been lent to Gambit in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, whoever's writing Gambit has this person down, down pat. He's not an easy character to write.
Yeah, I can't, like, I mean, that's the one thing that sucks about Gambit is he is not an easy character to write, not just because of the accent, but he's not an easy character to write.
No, because he's honestly not a character that's had a whole lot of fleshing out. Honestly, the most fleshed out version of Gambit I can think of is when he led not Excalibur, whatever it was during Age of Apocalypse. He was the leader of that team.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think it was Excalibur. I think that was Nightcrawler. But
Yeah.
oh shit, I can't remember for the life of me.
I used to
Exiles
know.
maybe.
Yeah, I think it was Exiles. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but
I was like,
that
when I
was like
younger,
the
I was
best
really into
version of
Gambit.
Gambit I'd really seen, and this is the best Gambit I've seen in a long time. So, really dig that issue, and I'd say if you like Rogue and Gambit, if you like the X-Men, if you like classic '90s Jim Lee X-Men, this is definitely a little mini series that it would benefit you to pick up. So, what was your next issue you want to talk about? I saw you got a little stack there. I see you got a couple issues I haven't read, and a couple series I don't read. So
Okay, so last week.
Oh, Thanos number 19.
Thanos, yeah. Thanos number 16.
Yeah.
The Thanos
Anyone?
storyline-
Okay. By the way, guys, I'm not dyslexic. There's a guy who came in today looking for Thanos number 19, wondering if I had sold out. The issue hasn't come out yet.
It is-
Anyway,
and I think the issue that he was wanting is this issue.
probably. But he wanted 19, so I let him know that 19's not out yet.
Yeah. But I haven't really talked a whole lot about the Thanos storyline.
You haven't. You keep telling me to read it, but you don't say
It's-
anything about the series.
Well, a lot of times I read because I don't get to read the comic books on Wednesdays when they come out. I have to read them throughout till next Wednesdays,
Right.
and by that time, a lot of it kind of slips out of my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm more worried about the new, these new sets. And so this time I made sure that I kept like little notes in my head of these books and everything. Thanos from last week, I don't really get to talk about it a lot. It's getting a lot of publicity lately because of the cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, which is Frank Castle.
Which is Frank Castle.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the storyline is already great. Cates does a great job on it. It's a great storyline.
Is it Phoebe Cates? I'm just kidding. No, that's
No, it's not Phoebe Cates.
No, Phoebe Cates is from Fast Time at
No,
Ridgemont
it's
High.
Donnie Cates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember his first name, and it was kind of bugging me. Jeff Straw's on the art, too, and that's great, too. But the storylines, Thanos has started, it was a great storyline. It started getting better. And right now, this Thanos 16 is nothing but the origin of how Frank Castle becomes Ghost Rider.
Why is Galactus on the cover?
Because this is where it gets fun. In the origin, what it is Thanos is destroying Earth again, and he is
Surprise.
winning. He is winning, and this is supposed to be like in modern time. And when this storyline is going on, we're in the future. Thanos has been sent into the future by future old Thanos. Yeah, I know it's really cheesy.
It sounds kind of like Jason Aaron's Thor: God of Thunder, where there's old Thor from like the Norse mythology days, present day Thor, and like All Father Thor.
Kind of like that,
Okay.
yeah. But what it is Frank Castle makes a deal with Mephisto to be able to stop Thanos and hunt him down. Because Frank Castle dies. He's not, he's one of the first ones to die because he's just a human.
Yeah.
And so he makes a deal. This makes him Ghost Rider. He goes out and Earth is a wasteland. He does his deeds and everything, and he's alone on Earth for years. And he starts going kind of crazy. Galactus comes down to Earth, and he's begging for help.
Holy shit!
He's begging for help because Thanos is getting too It's getting too powerful.
Okay.
Okay, and Galactus, he offers help now because
Don't spoil this for me because I'm gonna read this at some point.
But all I was going to throw out there is one more because he's a cosmic Ghost Rider. So Ghost Rider joins alliance with Galactus, but in return, Galactus has to give him kind of like powers like Silver Surfer.
Ooh,
So he's kind of a combination.
So he's like Ghost Rider, but also a herald.
Kind of,
Huh,
yeah.
okay.
He's not 100% like Silver Surfer, but he became Galactus's herald.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a good story. It's a good little one shot. It's just an origin of the cosmic Ghost Rider that everybody's kind of freaking out about because Frank Castle now is Ghost Rider, which is
And he's also War Machine.
And he's also War Machine. What can't Frank Castle do now?
Nothing, dude. I mean, he kills the Marvel universe.
Yeah, if I were you, I would suggest reading it. It's
I need to start it off in
It's not one of my
trade.
favorites. It's not one of my favorite. It's definitely not one of my tops, but it's definitely top 5 of books that are out right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good read. You
All
know?
right. Well, I'll check it out. Next issue I want to talk about is Robert Kirkman's issue 1 of Oblivion Song.
I'm so interested in seeing what you're going to say about this because I know you like your Kirkman when it comes to Invincible.
Yeah, but I don't like The Walking Dead.
I know.
He's
It's a hit
one
or
for
miss.
2.
He's a very
He's 1
hit
for
or
2.
miss man.
Yeah. All right. So, contrary to what you might think, I didn't go into Oblivion Song with a vendetta to hate it because, Invincible is now over because he wants to do Oblivion Song. The idea behind this story is interesting. It's kind of like, actually, it reminds me a little bit of Annihilation, which I actually just saw. Actually, since the last podcast we've done, I saw Annihilation in theaters and Game Night. Annihilation is phenomenal. Game Night's a solid comedy. But anyway,
I knew Annihilation was going to be. I
Annihilation
wanted to pick that
was
for my draft
so
pick, but
good, dude.
They're not. Yeah.
But anyway, Oblivion Song, it's kind of like this weird part of the earth has been invaded by some monster thing, and this guy that you follow, his name is Nathan. He's going into this territory to try and fish people out who have been long thought dead or missing. They built a memorial to the people, You know, it's almost like a 9/11 thing where the rest of the world's kind of moved on from this, but this territory is still festering with monsters and shit, and they just don't go into it because it's like a wasteland.
Kind of like I Am Legend.
A little bit, but it hasn't infected the whole world, just a small portion of it.
Okay.
Just a really small portion, like
So like Walking Dead?
like the size of a city, right? It's like the size of a city, and it's infested with like grotesque giant monsters. Almost kind of reminds me of the kaiju from Pacific Rim. And this guy goes in and he finds people that are still living in there, and he extracts them, brings them back to their family. He's got this vendetta. Everyone's like, hey, you need to stop this whole crusade because we all know that you're not doing this to be a hero. You're doing this because your brother's in there and you're hoping to find him. And meanwhile, you're giving everybody else hope that their family members are still alive by you bringing people out every now and then. It's okay. The idea is high concept. The execution so far is not great, and the art I am not a fan of. I don't really like it that much. It's not very detailed. All the characters look the same. I don't really know who's speaking at times because there's no real distinction between them. I'll probably give it another couple issues, see what happens with it. But as of now, it's not something I can completely recommend to anybody. But if after the third, fourth, maybe fifth issue, because I'll have the luxury of reading those, I can go, okay, it's a slow burn, kind of like Invincible was. Had I picked up the very first issue of Invincible, I would not have recommended it to anybody. So I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt and go, okay, I'll give it a few more issues in and see how I feel about it afterwards.
My personal opinion with Invincible, you got to get past that first, you got to get past the first few issues.
You got to get past the first volume.
That first volume is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not
nothing
it doesn't
great.
grab your
attention.
attention.
I know this for sure. Yeah. So
towards the end, it starts grabbing your attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's right here. I can see where it ends off, but I can tell you right when it grabbed me. That's for damn sure. But yeah, with this one so far, I can't say I can completely recommend it yet. But
that's when his dad comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, even in this one too, the artist changes isn't Ryan Otley in Invincible. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. What about you? Next issue you'd like to talk about?
Next one is one that actually came out. I'm going back and forth, guys. This one came out this week. Avengers: No Surrender, number 9.
Part 9.
Part 9, but number 683. See, this just sounds so exciting when you say it like that.
Right.
I haven't really talked about No Surrender either, mostly because I don't really care about it. I don't really care about it. It's interesting. I don't like it because they try to retcon this character into it and try to act like this character is made into it. You'd feel very suspicious of the character, but what it is these battles that are going on, and they're all fighting for these little pyramid things, and it's this bunch of bullshit, and it's stupid. Okay? The only you want to know the reason why I continue to read this?
Because you're hoping it has a payoff by the end?
I swear to God, I thought Jarvis was going to die.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in the very first issue of it, Jarvis is knocked on his fucking ass. Yeah, and it's an interesting. It's not a bad read. It's just not. It doesn't pick.
I'm curious what happens because I know the premise of this very basic premise is that there's an original Avenger that was somehow forgotten or erased from the history books, right? And this is probably the story of that, I assume.
This
in a way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what's going on. Is she's there, but there's other things that are going on, and it doesn't really seem to interact with her too much at first. What it is you got the Black Order, and you got another team. Grandmaster is in the middle of.
They're bringing on a lot of Infinity War characters that will be in the movie.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, it's very like they're copying off of what storyline is it that I'm thinking of? Astonishing X-Men. With the Shadow King and Professor Xavier, how they had their own little teams kind of going against each other, and they're just sitting off to the side. That's exactly what's going on here. And they use Earth as the battleground, and these two teams are fighting for these
prisms.
Like these prisms.
Yeah.
And when you grab them, the person just vanishes, vaporizes. So far, the Avengers are the only ones that's been able to obtain these things. They're except for one other person. In this issue, the whole time that this is going on, Beast and Wasp, not Janet Wasp, but the new Wasp, they have been at the bedside of Jarvis because his hit with some kind of piece of rubble, and they thought he was going to die, and everybody else is fighting everything, and then we have a bunch of Avengers that are in stasis, but they're standing on the bedside trying to heal Jarvis, and they find out that there's some kind of alien virus that has planted itself into Jarvis. Now, if you guys don't know, if you guys only watch the movies, Jarvis is not a piece of tech. He's an actual human being. Yet. And they found a way to fix him, but the next prism pops up in the hospital that they're at.
Okay, I have lost interest in this already.
But apparently Jarvis is the key.
Okay.
At this issue, you find out Jarvis is the key.
All right. Well,
all I'm trying. So I guess mostly what I was wanting to talk about this is a perfect example of
Mark
why
Waid is not at the top of his game.
He needs to take a break.
Yeah.
He needs to go and he could do a little me time. This is a perfect example.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to go on to Doctor Strange Damnation number 2.
Oh, man.
I'm digging this so far. You got number 1, and then you got the Doctor Strange solo series tie-in. So this is technically like the third installment for Damnation. It's a cool little series, man. It really is. The team that they're bringing together, you got like Brother Voodoo, Blade, Johnny Blaze, Moon Knight, some chick I've never heard of. She hunts monsters. A couple of Iron Fist.
Is she like a redhead?
Yeah, I
can't
forget
remember her name. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But
I can't even remember it now.
She's featured heavily in the Secret Wars. I can't remember what it's called.
Either way.
Yeah, she was one of the Secret Wars.
Anyway, so, Wong is putting this team together, and they're like, hey, we got to go save Strange, because he's basically, he resurrected Las Vegas after the events of Secret Empire. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, because he took all these souls that were in hell, Mephisto came up, and Mephisto sets up shop in Vegas, and he's like, hey, Strange, play me for the soul of Vegas, basically. And while he's doing that, everybody in Vegas, if they commit a sin, they become like this fucking crony for Mephisto. They become like this demon thing because they're sinning, right? And so Strange's like, all right, I'll play you. And then, he's kind of like, Mephisto's kind of got like his own little casino thing going on. And he's got all these like demons that kind of act as like his henchmen and shit. And they're playing a game of like cards, right? Strange cheats Mephisto to win the card game. Mephisto finds out, breaks his fucking legs because female Thor, sinned and turned into a fucking ghostwriter, and fucking takes the hammer, breaks his legs and shit. Now this dude's all fucked up, and Wong's like, we gotta save him. It's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Tight.
It is cool.
Yeah, my favorite part about that whole series right now is the beginning of the first issue, where Doctor Strange is talking to the ghost dog.
Yeah.
And he's
Bats.
talking about
What a weird name for a dog, but yeah, Bats.
Yeah. And he's talking, and then Doctor Strange is dyeing his temples, and he's talking about having gray hair since he was in med school.
Yeah. It's actually really well written. I like it. All right, I think the next 3 we can talk about together.
We can talk
other
about
than,
together.
You got one more. You got Legion, number 2.
Yeah.
I read issue 1. It was interesting, but not enough for me to care to read the next one.
Okay, so I was really hoping. I always been, because my background in comic books was very heavily in Batman and Uncanny X-Men. And with that being said, Legion was a character that was in there. I didn't really care for Legion there for the longest time. Then the show Legion came out, and then I got really intrigued by Legion all over again. Mostly because now I'm older, I understand mental illness, and it makes it more interesting for me.
Are you saying you're mentally ill?
Well, I mean, not as bad as somebody who gets on a podcast to relieve his stress about trolls and fandoms. And
moving on.
Yeah. So, of course, Marvel riding the hype of that, they're going to his Legion. A lot of people like Legion.
Yeah, that series it's a hit.
I know that for you it was a little weird.
I couldn't get into it.
I personally really enjoyed it. I like weird stuff. So I got really excited when the Legion comic came out. Now we didn't really talk about the first issue. But it was rough. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the style of it that much. I didn't like the way
art feels like it's trying to be different for the sake of being a different kind of book.
The art felt like it was, it just didn't fit with this character.
No,
the art feels like it
felt like it was
go
trying
better
to be
with like Hellcat or Squirrel Girl.
I was gonna say this art felt like it was trying to be an indie comic.
Yes, that too. And the story, it's not really appealing. So I'm giving it, about 3 or 4 issues. Second issue that came out, it's just it's not really picking it up. Legion is going to
And they draw him like an Asian dude.
Yeah, that too. Legion is going to a celebrity psychiatrist for help. He has some kind of virus. To me, I think it's we're going to find out it's actually one of his multiple personalities that is attacking him. Yeah. And so he's going to her for help. And she is in for a treat because going into his head is not the same way that she would go into a head of an actual
Celebrity,
patient, celebrity. Like he literally takes her subconscious and put it into his because he's Xavier's son, so he can do shit like that. I'm going to give it a couple more reads, but it's not.
It wasn't issue 1 wasn't a fun read, and that's why
To me, it felt like they were trying to do the indie comic feel, but also make it where they could make it for like kids. I don't know. It kind of felt kind of kiddie at times. For me.
It's got a weird blend of tone, and I don't know. It wasn't for me.
It's weird.
All right, let's get down these last 3 because we both read these last 3. Infinity Countdown number 1. So we had the Warlock, then we had Prime. Now we got Infinity Countdown number 1.
Yeah.
It took me to read this to realize this isn't even the main event. It's counting down to infinity, obviously.
Yeah.
But as we all know, Guardians of the Galaxy, the title has been canceled. Yep. So this issue is like the direct follow-up to that. So I was very lost because I haven't been reading Guardians of the Galaxy.
Me too.
There's some pregnant Nova bitch. I don't know who she is. There's like the Tar Hawks or something, the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
Drax is sitting on. Apparently the Power Stone is now a giant mountain.
Which I didn't realize that they wrote Drax like that now.
Once
again, they're writing it like the way it is in the movie.
Well, I mean, we got Baby Groot in this fucking comic, so...
Yeah, baby Groot, though.
Yeah, baby. So anyway, shit happens.
Spoilers.
I don't know with the gardener who's like one of the Eternals or something.
I do love the fact that Gardner's in there.
Yeah, and they even talked about his brother. I think the Contemplator. I'm like, this is okay, cool.
Well, the main thing I like about it is because obviously they're heading down to the Infinity Gauntlet. You can look at it. You see the Infinity Stones on the cover. There's the Infinity Gauntlet of the countdown.
Yeah.
But
this felt like a Jerry Duggan book.
It did feel like a Jerry Duggan book.
And not in a good way for me though.
Yeah.
His style doesn't blend well for things that I think need to be a big event.
Just stick with Deadpool. You do good with Deadpool.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't need to go over everything that happened, but it's like, I don't know. It feels like this is an excuse to get people to try and get more involved into Guardians of the Galaxy again. So like, hey, let's try and get some vested interest in this team again so we can start the book back up. Because we just had to cancel it because sales are so bad.
I'm going to spoil Prime because I gotta say, I was really excited for this Infinity Countdown because the
Prime
ending,
was good.
Prime, I got so excited about Pym Ultron.
Yeah, and what the fuck happened at the very beginning? Because there's this guy that you never find out who it is, or a woman who contacts that dwarf from Nidavellir. Yeah. He's like, hey, make me this armor. Never comes back into play in this issue at all. I don't. And that was Mike Deodato on the art, and I love Mike Deodato.
Yeah, it was kind of a little all over the place. I didn't like the way they wrote. I really did not like the way they wrote Drax in the.
No, I didn't like Drax. I didn't like Rocket. I didn't like Star-Lord. Nobody really seemed to stand out to me.
The only thing that stands out to me
is what happened with Groot.
Is Groot and the very end. Granted, if you've been reading Tales of Suspense, you already know about it.
Right.
But the ending was kind of nice little like, okay, I'll keep reading.
Yeah, so the big spoiler is that Groot is no longer baby Groot. He's a giant regular Groot, and he doesn't just say, I am Groot. He talks in complete sentences now.
And he talks about himself in the third person.
Yes, he does. Well, there's that idea that...
the way that they draw him, though...
It does look badass.
It looks badass.
And then, of course, the end. Again, if you've been reading Tales of Suspense, this is not really a shocker to you, but... At the same time, they're also acting like I've already read the next issue of Tales of Suspense, and I should understand this a little bit better. It's kind of like what Dark Knight's Metal, or what Sideways and the Terrifics have done with Metal before Metal's over. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. I hate that. I'm like, because the last issue of Tales of Suspense is when you find out affirmatively that Natasha is still alive.
Yes.
And it's like the very end. And now she's off on this crusade in this one, and I don't know how she's back, why she's either back from the dead or was never dead in the first place, and
you're just missing a little gap of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I want that explanation. So I don't know. This is a
for Tales of Suspense.
Yeah, but that issue of Tales of Suspense has not come out yet.
This is just the kind of, but they're just trying to get you all excited because
I mean, if that's like a cross promotion for Tales of Suspense,
even though that was the suspense part, there's another.
But there's nothing in the book
There's
going,
another
to see how
spoiler.
Natasha came back, see Tales of Suspense. There's nothing like that. So it's just like, is this granted information? Should I already know this? And I don't know. They just treat it like such an afterthought. But the ending of that issue, which is what she finds and who left it for, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know. But it's also interesting that, what's his name, I'm going to say, doesn't have that Power Stone or that Infinity Stone anymore. Well, I'm kind of wondering why he gave it up and why it's left for Natasha. So, I don't know.
I don't know why he would give it to Natasha either.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It makes sense for him to be able to have it.
But why leave it for Natasha?
But Natasha's
in such an inconspicuous place. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
This-
very weird. Very
Very weird.
Person, when you think this person would put something and hide something for someone, that's exactly where I would imagine that person hiding.
Right. But anyway, on the whole, this issue didn't do much for me. It kind of took the wind out of my sails as far as wanting to read more of it.
Yeah.
I just hope that it goes on and becomes better. I want to know what the hell was going on at the very beginning of that book with the dwarf.
There's
Because the dwarf is literally like, I can't make this. They will kill me.
Yeah, legitimately, the beginning and the ending, two different artists, or different artists from the whole storyline.
Probably different writers.
Probably different writers. Those are the only reasons why I'm going to continue reading this.
Yeah, everything in the middle was just like, we need to probably tie up whatever the fuck we were doing in Guardians.
Yeah.
So
The only thing I liked about it was, like I said, the Gardener. That's a nice little hat tip to Thanos' quest, where Thanos is obtaining all the Infinity Stones because the Gardener has one of the Infinity Stones.
All right, so let's move on. Batman White Knight #6 by Sean Murphy. I think he does the pencils and the art. And the writing.
He's with Matt Hollingsworth too.
Oh, okay. It's a solid issue. It's not the best of the White Knight so far, but it's a solid issue.
Yeah.
I thought the stuff with Mr. Freeze and Thomas Wayne, that information was pretty neat.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I thought the plan on how to capture Batman was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the dynamic. I just like what's going on with Joker, but he wasn't very prominent in this issue, which is what I thought was weird because you're calling it Batman White Knight. I kind of assumed this is going to be a very Jack Napier-centric book, a.k.a. the Joker.
Got 2 more issues, too, left in
Yeah.
the storyline.
I am kind of worried that we're going to see that this series ends up wrapping up and everything kind of the way that the Nightwing New Order did, which was just very quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say on this book. What about you?
If you listen to the podcast, you know that me and Jake here, we've
been loving the
praise
series.
This book. Yeah, we love this series. Out of all the books, this is probably the one that's a little bit lackluster. But with that being said, it's still a good book.
Yeah.
I'd read this over No Surrender.
Well, and here's the thing: this isn't an issue that's going to get you to stop reading this series.
No,
you know what I mean.
You're still put on this edge. You still want to know what's going to happen.
I'm kind of annoyed at this other Harley Quinn, the Neo Joker that they're calling her now. I'm annoyed by her a little bit. I don't really like her character.
I think that's the whole point.
I don't know.
Okay, so the Neo Joker is kind of based off of like the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. And matter of fact, and that's one of my favorite things is they make the little reference to her and they say like this Hot Topic knockoff, little phrase thing, which is perfect. But yeah,
I like that Dick Grayson and Barbara are kind of pushing back against Gordon on this whole idea too, though.
Yeah,
because they seem to be a little too with it, and now they're like, hold on, pump the fucking brakes. You want to unmask Batman in front of fucking everybody?
The one thing I like about it is it kind of, to me, what I like about it is they're both pushing back off of Commissioner Gordon. Saying like, hey, we can't. No, I understand that he's fucking crazy and he's like destroying cities. We're talking about Batman too. But you can't like unmask him and like put out a secret. And I like the way
reason Jack Napier was even saying the same thing. He was like on their side. I thought that's kind of cool.
I like the fact that even though they're doing it, they're both doing it their own ways. Nightwing is saying no, we can't do this, but I'm going to help you still capture him. Yeah. And he's still being, he's right there and he has his own way of doing it. And then Barbara just fucking leaves.
She's like, bounces. Fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I dig that.
Yeah, I dig it too.
All right, and the last issue that I want to talk about is the issue that surprised me the most this week. It is actually the issue that sticks out in my mind the most, and again, it's another weird one for you, I know. And I didn't make you read it, but you were curious.
I had to read it.
You were curious.
Yeah.
Well, it was Jetsons #5, actually. And now, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for any period of time, you know that I was a big fan of that Flintstones rendition that they did. So when the Jetsons came out, I jumped on it and said, I'm going to read this from the beginning, and I want to see where it goes. This issue, and unfortunately, they're only making this a 6-issue little miniseries. So this is the second to last issue of the series. But this issue, no lie, had me choking up a little bit. And while I was reading it, there was a customer here in the shop, and I was like, I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna fucking cry, but I was kind of going, kind of clearing my throat a little bit because I'm like, this is really good writing, and this is actually a very poignant moment for George and his family and stuff. So I don't know if I want to spoil it too much because I really want to encourage people to read this issue. But okay, so you know what I'm talking about. How did you feel about it?
Okay, so being someone who's only read the first issue,
yeah,
this if you was to come into the shop and you wanted to go, okay, so what is it that has Jake being a crying little bitch? Then you want to pick it up. You can still understand where he's coming from by reading this because it is good writing. It does convey these feelings in you. You do kind of get a little choked up.
And let's not lie. I watched you read the pages.
Like a fucking creep. What's going on?
I was sitting there. I was putting these notes together for the podcast, and I'm looking over at you. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what party's at. And I was watching your facial expressions. It was getting to you too, motherfucker. I saw it.
I love my mom. And so I read it. The ending was a little lackluster.
Well, the ending kind of undercuts the emotion a bit, and that kind of bummed me out. I think you could have saved that for the beginning of the next issue. But there's no taking away from how I felt during reading that moment. Yeah,
it takes you a little bit out of it, and it does make you feel like you're not really reading the comic book.
And the thing is too, like you see it coming a mile away. Like it sets it up when George kind of gets called away by that woman, and you're like, I see exactly where this is going. And the whole time I'm reading, I'm like, I know they're gonna divert away from what they seem to be alluding to doing. And then when they actually go through with it, I went, holy shit, this is actually really well done.
I'll see, and that's the other thing too. Is like when you're reading it, you can tell that it would probably be a little bit more choke you up more if you had been reading the issues, because it seems like,
and I told you that ahead of time.
Yeah, the issues are all working towards this event. And but if you was to just read that issue, you understand. You understand
why I got emotional about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even then, like you still get emotional with it just because you're a human being. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like it's not just because you have to know the storyline. It's just you're a human being.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like you're kind of focusing more on the mom stuff, which it got me too, because one of the last things he says is to his mother. And well, no, in the book, one of the last things he says, when I'm talking about the emotional stuff, is to his mom. But when he's talking to his wife and his kids, that got me too, because like I could put myself in the head space of like if that was my father, or as you like to kind of jokingly talk about, I'm like, well, yeah, Lexi's got a little boy now, and I do play a mentor role to him.
You do, and you know what? I'm gonna get a little cheesy here. It's cute seeing you with that little boy.
Anyways, so
you're
like
fatherly.
I'm just like if I were ever put in this predicament and I had to talk to him, I can see it from both sides now.
Yeah.
And it got to me. And then of course but I think that thing that most resonated with me was actually him talking to Jane. Because when she was talking to him, it wasn't like no. It was very understanding on her part.
It was very understanding,
but she was still upset.
Yeah,
and so I found that
rational.
To be, yeah, exactly. When you're faced with the stakes that they're faced with, and she understands why he's doing what he's doing, I'm just like, this is really good writing. And this issue surprised me the most, which is probably why it sticks out to me the most out of what I read this week.
Yeah, that reminds me. I know that we said this was the last one, but I forgot another one.
What is it?
Jessica Jones.
Oh, if you want to talk Jessica Jones, talk about it quickly. I didn't read this issue, so
okay,
this was Bendis' last issue on Jessica Jones.
No, it isn't.
Oh, really?
One more.
Well, I do know that he's got one more issue at least of Invincible Iron Man too.
Yeah.
Which, what I was thinking about earlier, if Invincible Iron Man, his last issue of Invincible Iron Man, and his first issue of Action Comics comes out the same month, I kind of want both those to go. This is the final transition.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway,
I need to look that up.
Go ahead.
So in Jessica Jones, what's going on right now is Purple Man's back.
Yep.
and everything. But ends on a note, because I'm going to go ahead and spoil a little bit of it. Purple Man comes back because he's asking Jessica for help because he wants to be a decent person. And in this issue, Jessica is kind of a bitch because she straight up just like, she looks at him and she goes, "You want to be a good person?" Like, I'm paraphrasing this, I'm cutting it down as quick as I can. But she pretty much goes, "You want to be a better person? Fucking do yourself in."
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and so he's like, you kind of feel like he's, being narcissistic, and he is, and he's, kind of arguing and everything. But the issue ends where she goes, "Just go," and she goes, "If you want to be a good person and, and you want to do right by me, you need to just go." And then he starts walking and he just fucking collapses and he's dead.
What the fuck?
He just used his own powers against himself. He
Holy
said,
shit.
"Die," and he dies.
Whoa, he used his own powers against himself.
That's
Told
the
himself
way-
to
yeah.
die, and it worked?
Pretty much told himself to get out or go, and
That's
gone.
actually really interesting. I would have never thought to do something like that. That's cool.
It was, granted, there's still one more issue, so I don't know where that's going to go, if it's going to continue with Purple Man, if he's going to, maybe come back or something like that. But it was good writing.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want everybody to sit here coming to the shop and go, "Oh, this is that fucking vibe Jessica Jones fucking lover. He's fucking weird." And
fucking loser.
at least I'm not fucking talking about
He looks like
Condom
he looks
McKean.
like fucking Hellboy on that podcast.
Yeah, but no, it was a really good issue, and it was like a really interesting thing. It's like the whole premise of him coming back, and he's like wanting to do right by her, but he's also wanting her to show him how to be a good person. Like, he has these powers and these abilities, and he just doesn't know exactly how to go about using them to be a decent person. And the whole time, the only thing she can think of is like, "I'm not gonna fucking help you. You're a piece of fucking shit." And it's pretty much just saying, like, do your fucking self in. If you want to be a decent person, because I feel like you're just fucking with me, do your fucking self in. And he fucking does.
That's a lot of fucks.
Yeah.
A lot of fucks there.
Oh, I'm talking about Jessica Jones.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that is all we've got for you as far as what we're reading. I hope you found maybe some enjoyment in what we were talking about, and maybe it sparked a little interest on your part to want to come in and pick up any of these issues, or at least start from the beginning of any of these series and catch up to where we're talking about now. I think that's all we've got for you today. Hope you also, guys, found a little bit of, we're informed a little bit of what we were talking about earlier on in the podcast. If you guys liked any of the content that we've got here today, please hit that little thumbs up button, share it with your friends, comment, let us know what you guys think. I've actually been kind of contemplating whether or not we should maybe break this up into 2 different videos, which is just kind of the main podcast, whatever we feel like talking about, and then every Wednesday we can do a what are we reading type deal, and we can put that as a separate video so you guys can kind of pick and choose what you'd rather listen to, and we can kind of gauge audience responses on what's getting more hits. But anyways, guys, if you have any comments or if you have any preferences on that, leave them in the comments below.
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
Sean's back.
I know. I saw him, and I'm gonna let him do a little outro. But I just want to. He's breathing on the back of my neck.
His hand's up his kilt.
Oh God, he's got Viagra in his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, guys. So, and then of course, most importantly, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the little bell button. You guys can be notified every Thursday morning when I put these videos up. But I think that's no, Sean.
I'd just like to say that all of you have listened to all this fucking bullshit. Shut up, Josh. If you've listened to this much fucking bullshit this far, you should go and watch League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's significantly shorter and much more entertaining.
Fuck off, Mr. Connor. What's his name again? Connery. Jesus, you're so not relevant. I don't even remember your old ass name.
Pierce Brosnan was a better Bond.
Oh, fuck you, Sonny boy.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Thank you so much.